The village of Ravenswood was never the same after the night the library disappeared. One morning, the grand stone building that had stood for centuries was gone, replaced by an overgrown lot of vines and decaying leaves. No one knew what had happened, but the villagers whispered of a curse. They avoided the spot, fearing that whatever had taken the library might return for them. Years passed, and the legend faded into a ghost story told to frighten misbehaving children. But when 19-year-old Ellen, an urban explorer, stumbled upon an old map in her attic, she became obsessed. The map detailed the location of the forgotten library, marked with a single word: beneath. Ellen gathered her camera, flashlight, and a sense of adventure. She found the overgrown lot, now hidden behind a tangle of trees. The air felt heavy, like a breath held too long. She pushed through the vines and found a small, almost invisible door sunk into the ground. It creaked as she opened it, revealing a narrow stairway that descended into darkness. "Hello?" she called out, her voice echoing. Only silence replied. The stairs led her to a vast underground chamber, the ceiling lost in shadows. Row upon row of ancient bookshelves stretched before her, each filled with books bound in black leather. The air smelled of decay and something metallic, like blood. Ellen wandered the aisles, her flashlight flickering. The books seemed untouched, their pages yellowed but intact. She opened one, and a faint whisper filled the air, like pages turning on their own. The words inside were in a language she couldn't understand, but the symbols shimmered faintly. As she delved deeper, she found a journal hidden between the shelves. It belonged to a librarian named Malachi, who had written of a terrible secret. The library, he claimed, was not just a collection of books but a prison. It held a darkness so ancient, so vile, that it had been sealed away for millennia. But the sealing had come at a cost. The library, and everyone in it, had been sent to a place between worlds. Ellen's heart raced as she read the final entry. Malachi had discovered that the darkness was not contained. It had begun to seep through the pages, taking form in the shadows. He had tried to burn the books, but the darkness had already taken him. As Ellen closed the journal, she heard the first noise, a soft rustling like pages turning. She turned her flashlight down the aisle, but there was nothing. Then, the sound came again, louder this time. She spun around, her breath catching in her throat. That was when she saw it as shadow, tall and humanoid, stood at the end of the row. It didn't move, but Ellen could feel its gaze. She tried to run, but her feet felt rooted. The shadow began to move closer, its form shifting like smoke. Ellen screamed, but her voice was drowned out by the sound of 1,000 pages whispering in unison. The shadow reached out, and everything went black. When Ellen came to, she was lying on the floor, the journal still clutched in her hand. The library was silent again, the shadow gone. But as she stumbled toward the stairs, she noticed something. On the floor, in letters scraped into the dust, was her name, Ellen. She didn't stop running until she was back in the daylight. The door slammed shut behind her. But as she looked down at the journal, she noticed something she hadn't before. A single sentence scribbled in the margin. "The darkness doesn't forget." Ellen never spoke of that day, but the villagers began to notice strange occurrences. Books would appear in their homes, bound in black leather, with symbols that shimmered in the dark. And in the dead of night, they could swear they heard the sound of pages turning, whispering a single name, theirs. The forgotten library was never found again, but its darkness had already begun to seep into the world. And in the shadows, it waited, patient and eternal, for its next victim.